How are you guys doing? Today is Saturday, May 21st, 2022. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review yesterday's Elite matchups and performances from Friday, May 20th. And just before I preview what's going on today, I'm going to take a quick step back and look at where we are in the calendar year. Of course, with the NFL season being over, and of course with the draft being over, we are in the midst of the NFL offseason as we prepare for the season to the preseason started about August and the regular season started about September. In the NBA, there are only 4 teams left, as we are actually pretty close to seeing the title for the NBA 2021-22 season named. And of course, taking a look at what's going on in the NHL, there are 8 teams that are left competing for the Stanley Cup title, as there are 2 more rounds after this to determine who's going to win that title. Taking a look at what's going on in the MLB, we are in the second month of the MLB season, as we still have a good amount of time to go before that's over. Looking out to see what's going on with soccer overseas, we are actually towards the end of a lot of European seasons, as this should be the last weekend. But of course, I'm going to take you sport by sport. Starting off in the NBA, in the Western Conference Finals, the 3 seed in the West, Golden State Warriors, hosted the 4 seed Dallas Mavericks. Coming in, the Warriors led this series 1-0 after beating the Mavericks by 25 in Game 1. In Game 2, in front of the same hometown fans, they would go on to beat the Mavericks 126-117. After the Mavericks outscored the Warriors by 14 in the first half, the Warriors would outscore the Mavericks by 12 in the third quarter, coming into the fourth quarter trailing by 2. They would outscore the Mavericks by 11 in the fourth quarter. They would go on to outscore the Mavs by 23 in the second half in order to win this game. On the losing end of this matchup, the 4 seed Dallas Mavericks were led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard out of Slovenia, Luka Doncic. He finished with 42 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, and 3 steals in 38 minutes. He shot 12 for 23 from the field, 5 for 10 from 3, and 13 for 15 from the foul line. Their starting point guard out of Villanova, Jalen Brunson, finished with 31 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists in 36 minutes. He shot 11 for 19 from the field, 5 for 7 from 3, and 4 for 6 from the foul line. Their starting small forward, Reggie Bullock, finished with 21 points in 44 minutes. He shot 6 for 11 from the field, 6 for 10 from 3, and he made all 3 of his free throws. The Mavericks starting power forward, Dorian Finney-Smith, finished with 10 points and 8 rebounds in 42 minutes. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown 3 seed Golden State Warriors were led in scoring by their goated starting point guard, the NBA's all-time leader in three-pointers made, Stephen Curry. The 3-time NBA champ would go on to finish with 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists in 37 minutes. He shot 11 for 21 from the field, 6 for 10 from 3, and he made all 4 of his free throws. Their shooting guard off the bench, Jordan Poole, finished with 23 points, 5 assists, and 2 steals in 29 minutes. He shot 7 for 10 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and he made all 7 of his free throws. The Warriors starting center, Kevon Looney, finished with 21 points and 12 rebounds in 32 minutes. He shot 10 for 14 from the field and made his only free throw. Their all-star starting small forward out of Kansas, Andrew Wiggins, finished with 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in 38 minutes. He shot 5 for 14 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and he made 3 of his 6 free throws on the night. Their elite starting shooting guard and 3-time champ Klay Thompson finished with 15 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists in 37 minutes. He shot 6 for 10 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, and he made both of his free throws. Their all-star power forward and 3-time champ Draymond Green finished with 6 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists as he fouled out in 28 minutes. He shot 2 for 6 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, and 1 for 2 from the foul line. With this win, the 3 seed Golden State Warriors now hold a 2-0 lead over the 4 seed Dallas Mavericks, as Game 3 will be played in Dallas. At this moment, the Warriors are 2 wins away from making it to the NBA Finals, a place where a few of their starters have made it before. The Dallas Mavericks have to win 4 of their next 5 games if they want to make it to the finals. It's, of course, very possible. Games 3 and 4 will be in Dallas. Game 3 is scheduled for tomorrow, and it should be on TNT. So that is what's going on in the Western Conference Finals. And, of course, taking a look at what is going on in the NBA playoffs today. Today should be Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals as the 2-seed Boston Celtics they will host the top seed Miami Heat. Right now, this series is split at 1-1. Both the first games were played in Miami. The Heat won Game 1 by 11. The Celtics won Game 2 by 25. It is a best-of-5 series from both teams coming in and out, as both teams have to win 3 of their next 5 games if they want to make it to the NBA Finals, as this would be the first time this Boston Celtics crew would make it to the Finals. For the Heat made it in the bubble a couple of years ago, so a good amount of these players have already been there before. But that's what's going on in the NBA. Taking a look at what's going on in the NHL as we are in the Stanley Cup playoffs, starting off in Raleigh, the top seed in the Metropolitan Division, the Carolina Hurricanes hosted the 2 seed New York Rangers in that divisional playoff series. In this matchup, the Hurricanes would end up beating the Rangers 2-0. They would shut them out. The first goal will come from Brendan Smith in the second period, and the second came from Sebastian Aho as the Aho goal was unassisted. The top star in this game went to Carolina's goalie, Antti Ranta. He would have 21 saves as he held a clean sheet. Carolina's defender, Brendan Smith, would finish with a goal on the night, and then their center, Sebastian Aho, would finish with a goal and an assist for himself. With this win, the Carolina Hurricanes now hold a 2-0 lead over the Rangers as Games 3 and 4 will be played in Madison Square Garden. Game 3 should be on ESPN tomorrow. The Hurricanes have to win 2 of the next 5 if they want to advance. On the opposite end, the New York Rangers being down 2-0, they are not exactly facing elimination, but they have to win 4 of the next 5 games if they want to make it to the next round. The winner of this round will face off against the winner between the Florida Panthers and the defending back-to-back Stanley Cup champs, Tampa Bay Lightning, coming out of the Atlantic Division. So that is what's going on with that matchup. Taking a look at what's going on with the second matchup from yesterday, as it took place in Calgary, the Pacific Final would see the top seed Calgary Flames host the 2 seed Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers would end up beating the Flames in this matchup 5-3 after Calgary scored the first 2 goals of the game. They were even up 3-1 in the second period. The Edmonton Oilers would tie it up off of a power play goal at the end of the second period from Evan Bouchard. In the third period, they would keep Calgary scoreless, and they would score 2 goals themselves, as Zach Hyman and Leon Draisaitl would finish off Edmonton's 4 unanswered goal streak to end this game and tie the series. The top star of the game would end up going to Edmonton center Connor McDavid as he had a goal and an assist. Their left winger, Zach Hyman, would finish with a goal as he had the second star. Johnny Gaudreau, Calgary's left winger, had 2 assists on the game as he had hit the third star of the matchup. So with this win for Edmonton, the series is now tied as Edmonton will host Games 3 and 4. Game 3 will be tomorrow on ESPN2. Both teams have to win 3 of their next 5 games if they want to advance. The winner of this matchup faces off against the winner the winner of the Central Divisional Final between the Colorado Avalanche, the top seed out of there, and the 3 seed St. Louis Blues. But that's what's going on there. Taking a look at what's going on with those actual matchups today, the only matchup that's going to be today will be at 8 o'clock on TNT as the 3 seed in the Central Division St. Louis Blues host the top seed Colorado Avalanche. Looking at how the series went, the first 2 games were in Denver as the Avalanche won Game 1 in overtime by a goal, of course, and then the Blues would end up winning Game 2 by 3 goals as they would even up this series. It is a best-of-5 series from here on out. The winning team is going to be the team that wins 3 of the next 5 games, as it is a very tight competition between these two, as the Blues were the first team to give the Avalanche a loss in the playoffs so far. Taking a look now at what is going on in the MLB, starting in Chicago, the Chicago Cubs would host the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks would end up beating the Cubs 10-6, as within this matchup, the Cubs would not even really they would get close to getting a lead, but the Diamondbacks just wouldn't allow them to. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Cubs would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Kyle Hendricks. Hendricks would allow 7 earned runs off of 8 hits and 5 innings pitched. He struck out 3 batters and walked 2. With this loss, he's 2-4. In the Cubs batting lineup, their right fielder, Rafael Ortega, would end up going 2-for-4. Their second baseman Jonathan Villar would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his second home run of the season. Their center fielder in this matchup for Chicago. I'm sorry. The Chicago Cubs center fielder in this matchup, Christopher Morel, would end up going 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his second home run of the season. On the winning end of this matchup, the Diamondbacks would see win number 3 go to Humberto Castellanos. He would allow 3 earned runs off of 5 hits as he would pitch 5.1 innings. He would strike out 5 batters and walk 1. With this win, he's now 3-1. And in the Diamondbacks batting lineup, their third baseman, Josh Rojas, would end up going 3 for 5 with 4 RBIs and 3 runs. He would go on to hit his first 3 home runs of the year. Their left fielder, David Peralta, would end up going 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his 6th and 7th home runs of the season. Their right fielder, or I guess Arizona's right fielder within this particular matchup, who was, Corey Dickerson, would end up, Arizona's outfielder, Jake McCarthy, it took a couple seconds, the website is glitching, would end up going 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs, and then their center fielder in this matchup, Alec Thomas, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. He would hit his 3rd home run of the season. With this win, the Arizona Diamondbacks are 20-21. That is the 4th best record in the National League West. At this moment, they are on a 2-game winning streak, and they've won 3 of their last 10. They are sitting 7.5 games behind the division-leading Los Angeles Dodgers, who are also sitting at the very top of the National League. With this loss, the Chicago Cubs are 15-23. That is the 4th best record in the National League Central, as they've now lost their last 3 games. Their 3-game losing streak is the longest active losing streak in the National League, and with this, the only team with a longer losing streak is the Los Angeles Angels. The Cubs have now lost 5 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 9.5 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers. Taking a look at what happened in another game in the NL Central, the Pittsburgh Pirates hosted the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals would end up beating the Pirates 5-3 after the Cardinals scored the first 5 runs of the game. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Pittsburgh Pirates saw the loss go to their starting pitcher, Zach Thompson. Thompson allowed 1 earned run off of 5 hits and 5 innings pitched. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 1, and with this loss, he's 2-4. In the Pirates batting lineup, their center fielder, Brian Reynolds, went 2 for 4 with an RBI. Their first baseman, Michael Chavis, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. He would hit his 4th home run of the season. On the winning end of this matchup, the St. Louis Cardinals would see the win go to their starting pitcher, Adam Wainwright. He allowed 1 earned run off of 4 hits and 7 innings pitched. He would strike out 3 batters and walk 3. With this win, he's now 5-3 on the year. The save would go to the Cardinals closer, Giovanni Gallegos. He allowed no earned runs as he finished off the 8th inning and pitched the entire 9th. He would strike out all 5 of the batters he would need to get out. He would pick up his 8th save of the year. In the Cardinals batting lineup, their second baseman, Tommy Edman, would end up going 2 for 5 with a run. Their right fielder, Dylan Carlson, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Their future Hall of Fame catcher, Yadier Molina, went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. With this win, the St. Louis Cardinals are 21-18. That is the 2nd best record in the National League Central. They've won 5 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 4 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers. With this loss, the Pittsburgh Pirates are 16-22. That is the 3rd best record in the National League Central, as they've lost 6 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 8.5 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers at this moment. Taking a look at what happened in Miami, the Marlins hosted the defending World Series champs Atlanta Braves. The Braves would end up beating the Marlins 5-3 after the Braves scored all 5 of their runs in the first 3 innings. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Miami Marlins saw loss number 5 go to their starting pitcher, Trevor Rogers. He allowed 5 earned runs off of 8 hits in the 4 innings he pitched. He struck out 5 batters and walked 2. In the Marlins batting lineup, their first baseman, Jesus Aguilar, would end up going 2 for 5 with a run. Their designated hitter and former Brave, not only former Brave, but the reigning World Series MVP with the Braves, would end up going 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 8th home run of the season, the lone home run for the Marlins yesterday. Their third baseman, Brian Anderson, would end up going 2 for 4 with a run. And on the winning end of this matchup, the Atlanta Braves saw win number 3 go to their starting pitcher, Charlie Morton. He allowed 3 earned runs off of 7 hits in 5.1 innings pitched. He struck out 5 batters and walked 1. With this win, he's now 3-3. The save went to the Braves closer, Will Smith. Will Smith allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out 2. This was his 2nd save of the year. In the Braves batting lineup, their elite designated hitter, Ronald Acuna Jr., went 2 for 4 with a run. Their left fielder, Marcell Ozuna, went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 8th home run of the season. Their catcher, Travis d'Arnaud, would end up going 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 4th home run of the season. With this win, the Atlanta Braves are now 18-21. They are tied with the Philadelphia Phillies for the 2nd best record in the National League East. They've won 5 of their last 10 games as they now sit 7.5 games behind the division-leading New York Mets. With this loss, the Miami Marlins are 17-21. That is the 4th best record in the National League East as they've lost their last 2 games. They've lost 6 of their last 10. They are sitting 8 games behind the division-leading New York Mets at this moment. Taking a look at what happened in Baltimore, the Orioles hosted the Tampa Bay Rays, and in a game that went to extra innings, the Orioles would end up beating the Rays 8-6. Going into the 10th inning, the score was going into extra innings. The score was, of course, tied at 3. In the 10th inning, Brett Phillips would have an RBI double, and Yandy Diaz's RBI single would put them up 5-3. Anthony Santander's 2-run single in the bottom of the 10th would tie the game up at 5. In the 11th inning, the Rays would go up by 1 off of a Kevin Kiermaier RBI single, and then Austin Hayes would end up singling, bringing a run home in the bottom of the 11th. And then in the bottom of the 13th, there will be a 2-run home run from Rougned Odor to give the Orioles the win in the 13th inning. So, I mean, that was a crazy game. Went into the night. I had a friend, went to the game, came all the way back to his place in D.C., and the game was still going on. So that's how long the game was. On the losing end of this matchup, the Tampa Bay Rays would see the start go to Jalen Beeks. Jalen Beeks would allow no earned runs off of 1 hit in the first 2 innings. He would strike out a batter and even walk 1. The loss would go to the Rays closer for the night, Ralph Garza Jr. He allowed 2 runs off of 1 hit as he didn't even make it through the 12th. With this loss, he's 0-1. In the Rays batting lineup, their elite left fielder and reigning American League Rookie of the Year, Randy Arozarena, went 4 for 5 with a run. Their center fielder, Kevin Kiermaier, went 3 for 6 with an RBI. And then on the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Baltimore Orioles would see the start go to Tyler Wells. Wells allowed 3 earned runs off of 2 hits in 4.2 innings pitched. He would strike out 4 batters and walk 2. The win would end up going to the Baltimore Orioles closer, Nick Vespi. Vespi would allow no earned runs as he only allowed 1 hit as he would pitch the 12th and 13th innings. He would strike out 3 batters and walk 1. With this win, he's now 1-0. In the Orioles batting lineup, their center fielder and former All-Star Cedric Mullins went 2 for 5 with a run. Their designated hitter, Trey Mancini, went 2 for 4 with an RBI. Their first baseman in this matchup, Tyler Nevin, would end up going 2 for 6 with 2 runs. With this win, the Baltimore Orioles are 16-24. That is the worst record in the American League East. They have now won their last 2 games, and they've won 3 of their last 10. They are now sitting 13 games behind the division-leading New York Yankees and the AL leading New York Yankees. With this loss, the Tampa Bay Rays are 23-16. That is the 2nd best record in the American League East as they've lost 5 of their last 10. They are sitting 5.5 games behind the division-leading New York Yankees at this moment. Taking a look at what happened in Philadelphia, the Phillies hosted the LA Dodgers. The Dodgers would end up beating the Phillies 4-1 as the Phillies' lone run came in the bottom of the 9th. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Phillies saw the loss go to their starting pitcher, Ranger Suarez. Suarez allowed 3 earned runs off of 5 hits in 3 innings pitched. He would strike out 5 batters and walk 2. With this loss, he's now 4-2. In the Phillies batting lineup, their designated hitter, Kyle Schwarber, went 2 for 4 with a run. And then their shortstop, Johan Camargo, went 2 for 4. On the winning end of this matchup, the LA Dodgers would see the win go to their starting pitcher, Julio Urias. Julio Urias would go on to allow no earned runs off of 2 hits in the first 5 innings of this game as he would strike out 5. With this win, he's now 3-3. The save would go to the Dodgers closer, Craig Kimbrell, their elite closer. He would allow no earned runs as he finished off the 9th inning. He would strike out a batter, getting the last out of the game. He would pick up his 8th save of the year. In the Dodgers batting lineup, their only player with more than one hit was their elite first baseman and reigning champion, Freddie Freeman. He went 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. And with this win, the Los Angeles Dodgers are 26-12. That is the best record in the National League West, and it is the best record in the National League. The only team with a better record than them in the major leagues is the New York Yankees at this moment. The Dodgers have now won their last 6 games. Their 6-game winning streak is the longest active winning streak in the majors right now. They've won 6 of their last 10 games. They are sitting a game and a half ahead of the second-place San Diego Padres in their division. Taking a look at where the Phillies are with this loss, they are now 18-21. They are tied with the defending World Series champs Atlanta Braves for the second best record in the National League East. They've lost their last 2 games and they've lost 5 of their last 10 games. Alongside the Atlanta Braves, they are now sitting 7.5 games behind the division-leading New York Mets. Taking a look at what happened in Toronto, the Blue Jays went on to host the Cincinnati Reds, who came in with the worst record in baseball. In this matchup, the Blue Jays would score the first 2 runs of this game, and they would go on to win it 2-1. On the losing end of this matchup, the Reds would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Luis Castillo. He allowed 2 earned runs off of 7 hits in the 6 innings he pitched. He would strike out 5. In the Reds batting lineup, their second baseman, Matt Reynolds, would go 3 for 4 with an RBI. Their shortstop, Kyle Farmer, went 2 for 4. And on the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Toronto Blue Jays would see the win go to their elite starting pitcher, Hyunjin Ryu. He would allow no earned runs off of 6 hits in the first 6 innings he would pitch as he struck out 3. This is his first decision, and with this win, he's now 1-0. The save would end up going to the Blue Jays closer, Jordan Romano. Romano would allow no earned runs in the 9th inning, and with this save, he now has 13 on the year. In the Blue Jays batting lineup, their second baseman, Santiago Espinal, would end up going 2 for 4. Their left fielder, Raimel Tapia, went 2 for 4. And then their center fielder, Bradley Zimmer, would end up going 2 for 3 with a run on the day. With this win, the Toronto Blue Jays are 21-18. That is the 3rd best record in the American League East. They've won 4 of their last 10 games, and they now sit 7.5 games behind the division-leading New York Yankees. And with this loss, the Cincinnati Reds are 11-27. That is the worst record in the National League Central. The worst record in the major leagues, as they're the only team that has won less than 30% of their games so far. They've lost 4 of their last 10 games, as they now sit 13.5 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers in the National League Central. Taking a look at what happened in Cleveland, the Cleveland Guardians hosted the Detroit Tigers, and they would go on to win this game 6-1. The first 5 innings would remain relatively scoreless, but then the Guardians would score 4 runs in the 6th and make it so the Tigers would not be able to catch up, thanks in big part to Jose Ramirez's 3-run home run in the 6th inning. On the losing end of this matchup, the Detroit Tigers would see the start go to Tarek Skubal. Tarek Skubal would allow no earned runs and only 4 hits in the first 5 innings of the game. He would strike out 5. The loss would go to the Tigers' first relief pitcher, Jacob Barnes. Barnes allowed 4 earned runs off of 4 hits in the 6th inning as he would strike out 2 batters. With this loss, he's now 3-1. In the Tigers batting lineup, nobody on their team would finish with more than 1 hit, and that would be attributed to great pitching from the Guardians. On the home side of this matchup, the win would go to their starting pitcher, Aaron Savali. He allowed only 1 run off of 3 hits in 6.1 innings pitched. He struck out 3 batters and walked 1. With this win, he's now 2-3 on the year. In their batting lineup, their center fielder, Miles Straw, went 3 for 4 with 2 runs. Their shortstop, Ahmed Rosario, would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. Their elite third baseman, Jose Ramirez, went 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his 9th home run of the season, as well as his 3rd triple. With this win, the Cleveland Guardians are 17-19. That is the 3rd best record in the American League Central. They've won 5 of their last 10 games, and they now sit 4.5 games behind the division-leading Minnesota Twins. With this loss, the Detroit Tigers are now 13-26. That is the worst record in the American League Central, as they've now lost their last 3 games. That is the 2nd worst or the second longest active losing streak in the American League, as only the Angels have a longer losing streak. The Tigers have now lost 6 of their last 10 games. They are now sitting 10 games behind the Twins, as they are holding the worst record in the American League at this moment. The only teams with a worse records than the Tigers are the Washington Nationals from the NL East and the Cincinnati Reds from the NL Central. Taking a look at what's going on in Boston, in Fenway, the Red Sox hosted the Seattle Mariners. They would go on to win this game 7-3 after the Red Sox scored the first 4 runs of the game in the third inning off of a grand slam from Trevor Story, fresh off of Trevor Story's amazing hitting performances, one of them at least. On the losing end of this matchup, the Seattle Mariners see the loss go to the reigning American League Cy Young winner, Robbie Ray. He allowed 4 earned runs off of 5 hits in the 6 innings he pitched. He struck out 8 batters and walked 2. With this loss, Robbie Ray is 4-4. In the Mariners batting lineup, their first baseman Ty France went 2 for 4. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Boston Red Sox will see the start go to Michael Wacha. Wacha allowed 2 earned runs off of 4 hits in 4.2 innings pitched. He struck out 3 batters and walked 3. The win in this matchup will go to the Red Sox first relief pitcher Austin Davis, as Davis would go on to allow no earned runs, no hits as he finished off the 5th inning and pitched the entire 6th, and he would strike out 2. With this win, he is now 1-1. In the Red Sox batting lineup, their center fielder, Kike Hernandez, went 2 for 3 with a run. Their elite designated hitter, JD Martinez, went 2 for 4 with a run for himself. Their elite second baseman, Trevor Story, went 1 for 4 as his grand slam would be his 6th home run of the year. With this win, the Boston Red Sox are now 17-22. That is the 4th best record in the American League East. They have now won their last 3 games. The Red Sox 3-game winning streak is the longest active winning streak in the American League. Only the LA Dodgers have a longer winning streak than the Red Sox right now. The Red Sox they've now won 7 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 11.5 games behind the division-leading New York Yankees. Taking a look at where the Mariners are with this loss, they are 17-23. That is the 4th best record in the American League West. They've lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 6 of their last 10. They are sitting 8 games behind the division-leading Houston Astros at this moment. Speaking of the Astros, they hosted the Texas Rangers from within the state. The Rangers would go on to beat the Astros 3-0, holding the Astros to 8 hits all game, as they only finished with 5 hits themselves. Regardless, on the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Houston Astros would be led out by their starting pitcher, Christian Javier. Javier allowed 1 earned run off of 3 hits in the 6 innings he pitched, as he struck out 9 batters and even walked 1. In the Astros batting lineup, their elite third baseman Alex Bregman went 2 for 4. Their right fielder Kyle Tucker would end up going 2 for 4 as well. On the winning end of this matchup, the Texas Rangers' complete game win would go to their originally designated starting pitcher Martin Perez. Perez would allow no earned runs and only 8 hits in 9 innings pitched. He would strike out 5 batters and walk 1. With this win, he's now 3-2. In the Rangers batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit. Their right fielder, Cole Calhoun, would hit his 6th home run of the season as he went 1 for 4. With this win, the Texas Rangers are 18-20. That is the 3rd best record in the American League West, as they've won 6 of their last 10. They are sitting 6 games behind the division-leading Houston Astros. And with this loss, the Houston Astros are 25-15. That is the best record in the American League West. They've lost 4 of their last 10 games. They are now sitting 1.5 games ahead of the second-place Los Angeles Angels from within their division. Just to get a sense of where they sit, only the New York Yankees have a better record than the Astros in the American League right now. Taking a look at what happened in Kansas City, the Royals hosted the division-leading Minnesota Twins, and the Twins would end up beating the Royals 6-4 after the Twins took a 4-1 lead in the first inning. The Royals just would not be able to get a lead. On the losing end of this matchup, the Royals would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Daniel Lynch. Daniel Lynch would allow 4 earned runs off of 5 hits in 3.2 innings. He struck out 2 batters and even walked 2. With this loss, he's 2-3. In the Royals batting lineup, their elite right fielder Whit Merrifield went 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run. Their catcher in this matchup, MJ Melendez, would end up going 2 for 4. Their third baseman in this matchup, Emmanuel Rivera would end up going 2-for-4 with an RBI and 2 runs. And then their pinch hitting center fielder, Kyle Isbell, went 2-for-2. On the winning end of this matchup, the Minnesota Twins saw the win go to their starting pitcher, Devin Smeltzer. Smeltzer would allow 1 earned run off of 5 hits in the 5.1 innings he pitched, as he would walk a batter. With this win, he's now 1-0. The save would end up going to the Twins closer, Emilio Pagan. Pagan would go on to finish with, he would allow 1 earned run off of 3 hits in the ninth inning, the lone inning that he pitched. He would strike out a batter and pick up his 6th save of the year. In the Twins batting lineup, their first baseman in this particular matchup, Jose Miranda, would end up going 2-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run. And then their left fielder, Humberto Castellanos, would end up going 2-for-3. And with this win, the Minnesota Twins are 23-16. That is the best record in the American League Central. They won their last 2 games and they won 5 of their last 10. They are sitting 3.5 games ahead of the second-place Chicago White Sox in their division. They are tied with the Tampa Bay Rays for the 3rd best record in the American League. With this loss, the Kansas City Royals are 14-24. That is the 4th best record in the American League Central. They have now lost their last 2 games, and they've now lost 6 of their last 10. They are sitting 8.5 games behind the Minnesota Twins at this moment. Taking a look now at what happened in Milwaukee, the Brewers went on to host the Washington Nationals. They would shut the Nats out 7-0 to pick up win number 25 on the season. On the losing end of this matchup, the Washington Nationals will see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Eric Fedde. Fedde allowed 2 earned runs off of 4 hits in 5.2 innings pitched. He struck out 4 batters and walked 3. With his loss, Fedde is 2-3. Their elite designated hitter, Nelson Cruz, was the only player in their batting lineup with more than 1 hit, as he went 2-for-4. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Milwaukee Brewers would see the win go to their starting pitcher, Eric Lauer. Lauer allowed no earned runs on only 5 hits in 7 innings pitched, as he struck out 5 batters. With this win, he's now 4-1. In the Brewers batting lineup, their elite left fielder, Christian Yelich, went 2-for-4 with 2 runs. Their first baseman, Rowdy Tellez, would end up going 2-for-4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs, as Tellez hit his 9th home run of the season. Their right fielder, Hunter Renfroe, went 3-for-3 with 2 RBIs and a run. With this win, the Milwaukee Brewers are 25-14. That is the best record in the National League Central. They've won their last 2 games and they've won 6 of their last 10. They are tied with the San Diego Padres for the 3rd best record in the National League at this moment. They are sitting 4 games ahead of the second-place St. Louis Cardinals in their division. With this loss, the Washington Nationals are 13-27. That is the 2nd worst record in the MLB, as that's the worst record in the National League East. They've lost 7 of their last 10 games, as they now sit 13 games behind the division-leading New York Mets. And taking a look at what happened in Anaheim, the LA Angels hosted the Oakland Athletics. The Athletics would end up beating the Angels 4-2. After the Angels did end up taking a 2-4 lead in the 3rd inning, the A's would take the lead right back off of a 2-run home run from Seth Brown in the top of the 5th. And then, of course, an extra run from Kevin Smith's sacrifice fly in the 6th would give them what they needed for their 4-2 win. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Angels saw the loss go to their starting pitcher, Chase Silseth. Silseth allowed 3 earned runs off of 6 hits in the 4.1 innings he pitched. He struck out 6 batters and walked 2. With his loss, Chase Silseth is now 1-1 on the season. In the Angels batting lineup, their elite third baseman Anthony Rendon went 2-for-4 with an RBI. On the winning end of this matchup, the Oakland Athletics saw the start go to Paul Blackburn. Blackburn would allow 2 earned runs off of 6 hits in the 4.2 innings he pitched. He struck out 5 batters and walked 2. The win will go to the A's first relief pitcher, Sam Mole. He allowed no earned runs as he pitched a full inning himself, as he struck out 3 batters and walked 1. The save would end up going to the A's closer, Donny Jimenez. Jimenez allowed no earned runs in the 9th as he struck out a batter. He picked up his 8th save of the year. In the A's batting lineup, their designated hitter, Jed Lowry, went 2-for-3 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his 2nd home run of the season. Their left fielder, Seth Brown, went 2-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run. And then the A's right fielder in this matchup, Luis Barrera, would end up going 2-for-4 with a run. With this win, the Los Angeles Angels are 17-24. That is the worst record in the American League West as of right now. They've won 5 of their last 10 games, and they now sit 8.5 games behind behind the division-leading Houston Astros. With this loss, the LA Angels are 24-17. That is the second best record in the American League West. They've now lost their last 4 games. The Angels' 4-game losing streak is the longest active losing streak in the MLB. They've lost 6 of their last 10 games. They now sit a game and a half behind the division-leading Houston Astros. Taking a look at what happened in the team, or taking a look at what happened in the Bay, the NL team that represents the Bay Area, the San Francisco Giants, hosted the San Diego Padres. And in this battle for second place, the Padres would end up beating the Giants 8-7, as this game ended up going into extra innings. The Giants would force this game into extra innings in the bottom of the 9th off of a 2-run single from Wilmer Flores. In the top of the 10th, Manny Machado's RBI double and Jurickson Profar's RBI single would put them up by 2. Brandon Crawford's single would give the Giants 1 run in the 10th, but it just wouldn't be enough, and the Padres walked away with an 8-7 win. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown San Francisco Giants saw the start go to Jacob Junis. Jacob Junis allowed 4 earned runs off of 7 hits in the 6 innings he pitched. He would strike out 2 batters on the day. The loss would end up going to the Giants closer, Camilo Doval, as Doval would allow 2 runs off of 2 hits as he would pitch the 10th inning, as he would strike out a batter, and with his loss, he's 0-2. In the Giants batting lineup, their left fielder Darren Ruff went 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs and 3 runs. He hit his 2nd and 3rd home runs of the year. Their first baseman Wilmer Flores went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run. And on the winning end of this matchup, the San Diego Padres saw the start go to Sean Manaea. He allowed 4 earned runs off of 5 hits in the 6 innings he pitched. He struck out 5 batters and walked 2. The win would end up going to the Padres setup relief pitcher in this matchup, as that was, of course, given to Luis Garcia. Luis Garcia will go on to allow 2 earned runs off of 2 hits in the 9th inning, as he struck out 3 batters and walked 2. He picked up his first blown save of the year, but with this win, he's now 2-2. The save would end up going to the Padres closer, Robert Suarez. Robert Suarez would allow 1 run off of 1 hit in the 10th inning as he struck out a batter. This would be his first save of the year. In the Padres batting lineup, their elite third baseman Manny Machado went 3 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs on the day. Their left fielder Jurickson Profar went 3 for 5 with an RBI and a run. And then their right fielder Will Myers went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs. With this win, the San Diego Padres are 25-14. That is the second best record in the National League West. They've now won their last 2 games, and they've won 6 of their last 10. They are now sitting a game and a half behind the division-leading LA Dodgers. And with this loss, the San Francisco Giants are 22-16. That is the third best record in the National League West, as they've now lost their last 2 games. They've lost 4 of their last 10. They are now sitting 4 games behind the division-leading and National League leading Los Angeles Dodgers at this moment. Those are all the games that were played yesterday, and taking a look at what's going on today, because there were a couple canceled games yesterday, I would not be surprised if there were a couple doubleheaders. The only doubleheader that's going to be taking place will be in Denver, as the Colorado Rockies are going to host the NL East leading New York Mets. The first game is going to be at 3:10, and the second matchup is going to be at 8:40. Taking a look at what's going on around that, at 1:10 in Yankee Stadium, the AL East leading New York Yankees are set to host the Chicago White Sox, who are a few games back from the AL Central lead. At 2:20, the Chicago Cubs are set to host the Arizona Diamondbacks in Wrigley Field, as the Diamondbacks are still trying to fight from the bottom of the NL West. At 3:07, the Toronto Blue Jays are set to host the Cincinnati Reds, as the Reds are still holding the worst record in the majors at this moment. The Blue Jays are going to get a start from Alek Manoah. He's right now holding a 4-1 record and a 1.71 ERA. At 4:05 at FS1, Carlos Rodon and the San Francisco Giants are set to host Joe Musgrove and the San Diego Padres. Rodon enters this matchup with a 4-2 record, holding a 3.49 ERA. At 4:10 in Fenway Park, the Boston Red Sox are set to host the Seattle Mariners, as both teams have 17 wins. At 6:05 in Citizens Bank Park, the Philadelphia Phillies are ready to host the LA Dodgers, as the Dodgers have the best record in the National League. At 6:10, the Miami Marlins are set to host the defending World Series champions Atlanta Braves, as Kyle Wright is going to get the start for the Braves. Kyle Wright enters his matchup with a 3-2 record, holding a 2.79 ERA. At 6:10, the Cleveland Guardians, led by their elite starting pitcher Shane Bieber, are set to host the Detroit Tigers. Shane Bieber enters his matchup with a 1-2 record, holding a 3.72 ERA. At 6:35, the Pittsburgh Pirates are set to host the St. Louis Cardinals, as the Cardinals are trying to fight for the best record in the National League Central. They're a couple of games back, 4 games back to be exact. At 7:05, the Baltimore Orioles are set to host the Tampa Bay Rays, as the Rays have the second best record in the AL East by 5.5 games. At 7:10, in Kauffman Stadium, the Kansas City Royals are going to host the AL Central leading Minnesota Twins. At 7:10, in Minute Maid Park, the AL West leading Houston Astros are set to host the Texas Rangers. The Astros are going to be led out by their goated starting pitcher Justin Verlander. Verlander enters his matchup with a 5-1 record, holding a 1.38 ERA. And then going back to the Twins, Joe Ryan is entering that matchup with a 4-2 record, holding a 2.39 ERA. I'm going to give him his credit. At 7:10, the Milwaukee Brewers, led by Brandon Woodruff, are set to host the Washington Nationals at 8:40 in Coors Field. That's going to be the second doubleheader. That's when that starts. But then after that, the last game will start on FS1 at 9:07 in Angel Stadium, as Michael Lorenzen is going to start for the Los Angeles Angels and Frankie Montas is going to start for the Athletics. But that is what's going to go on there. Taking a look at what's going on with soccer as we are entering what could be the last weekend for a lot of teams. Yesterday, Real Madrid was able to draw with Real Betis, as following this, they have officially finished the season on top of La Liga, picking up the title. They are 13 points ahead of Barcelona, as Barcelona has 1 game left, so they have officially clinched it. And with this win, this is the second time they've won La Liga in the last 3 seasons. So, of course, congratulations to that team. And, of course, they still have Champions League ahead of them, so they still have a chance for another trophy. And, of course, taking a look now at what is going on today as we go league by league. Taking a look first at what is going on in the French Ligue 1, we're going to see the last game for a lot of those teams. The top team is going to be, or the Ligue 1 champs for the season, PSG, are going to host Metz at 3 o'clock. Right now, they are sitting 15 points ahead of the two-way tie for second place. So the two-way tie here is where the games get interesting, because that second automatic Champions League spot is up for grabs in France, as Monaco has a 4-goal differential over Marseille, but they're both even going into their next game. Monaco is set to face off against Lyon, as Lyon holds the 7th best record in France and is very capable of knocking Monaco off his perch. Marseille is also tied for that record. They're also tied for that bout, as they're sitting. They're going to face Strasbourg. Strasbourg is sitting even with Nice, as Strasbourg is holding on to that last Europa Conference League qualifying spot. Both of these teams have something to play for, as Marseille. But all of these, but even looking at where Lyon is, Lyon could very well find themselves in there if Strasbourg loses. So all 4 of these teams have something to play for, as France is where all of the tension and where all of the eyes are going to be, especially for today's matchups. Taking a look at Serie A, considering how in Serie A the Champions League spots are virtually locked up. The only Champions League team playing today will be Juventus, as they face off against Fiorentina at 2:45. Fiorentina enters this particular matchup as they are holding the 7th best record in Italy. They are trying to qualify for the Europa Conference League qualify, so they are actually trying to play in this last game itself. Lazio is trying to hold on to that Europa League group stage spot, and they should more than likely get it, so it's not as though they're going to really put all that into it, but they're going to face off against Hellas Verona. And then taking a look at what's going on in Germany, today is the day of the German DFB Pokal final, as SC Freiburg is set to host RB Leipzig. So, and the winner of that matchup will face off against Bayern in the German Super Cup, because of course that's how that works. But that is a chance for a non-Bayern team in Germany to lift and hold up a trophy. So of course, congratulations to them. And that's everything I have for you for today, for Saturday, May 21st, 2022. I want to thank everyone for listening to all of this piece. I really do appreciate it. And once all of today's exhibitions and matchups are done, I'm going to come back tomorrow on Sunday, May 22nd. Until then, I want to thank everyone for listening. I do hope all is well, and I do have a profile for Josh Allen after this, so of course, stay tuned. I want to thank everyone for listening. Once again, I hope all is well, and I'll catch you with more tomorrow. Thanks for listening to my piece. Peace out.